Right now, we're in the process of looking for a home, looking for our first home. We've been renting, well, since we've been married, my wife and I, and so that's going on 7 years. And we're looking for a home. Right now, we live in Utah, but we've noticed that there's not very many options that we would qualify for in the state. Things are getting really expensive. Just basically the west side of the United States is really expensive. So we're going to be probably moving cross country. We're looking at kind of the east side of the United States, but hopefully kind of somewhere in the center, Kentucky, Oklahoma. We've looked at houses in Alabama or in Louisiana and places like that. So we're just kind of looking at houses all over the place. It's been a really interesting and kind of stressful experience. We don't qualify based on our income, and because I'm self-employed and stuff. And when you take out business expenses, then the income sometimes doesn't look like there's as much as what's coming in. We didn't qualify for lots. We're looking at something that's under $100,000. With today's market and inflation and everything, that's not a lot of money. We're optimistic, looking at a couple different homes today. I just wanted to, I don't know if I'll ever put this video up, but I wanted to document some of it and see what happens. There was an interesting experience where a little while ago, about a year ago now, we were on government assistance with housing. So we had some housing assistance that would pay part of the rent, and then we had food stamps. And I just had the impression, I would call it a spiritual impression, but just a feeling that we really should get off of that assistance. I felt like it was kind of disingenuous because I'm not a big proponent of these government programs where you don't really know the person that's the money, where the money's coming from. It's taken from people who earn the money, and then through a big government bureaucracy it's given to you. There's something that philosophically I disagree with, that as a moral thing to basically point over to some other people and say, hey, take money from them so that you can give it to me. But it is hard because when I was making very little, I was working on online courses and things like that, and those take a long time to build. There's a lot of upfront cost when it comes to time. So once we made that decision, and I felt like it was an inspired decision, like this is what God wanted us to do, because it's good to be self-sufficient. And so I felt like, okay, like I'm gonna get off of this government assistance, and then all of a sudden we'll start making more money. Well, I don't know if I should share this, but kind of as a way to say like, okay, this is something that I'm kind of putting my faith that this is the right thing. Before I did it, I like donated a substantial amount of our monthly income for feeding the poor. So feeding those that are in need. There's a fund that we call fast offerings that goes towards people that need food and things like that. So a chunk of our income that was more than we usually would have done, and that's on top of tithing, which is 10%. So it was kind of just a way of saying, like, okay, I feel like this is the right thing to do, and I feel like that I'll be taken care of, that it'll work out. And so I was thinking, oh, this is a big leap of faith, and so I'm just going to start seeing like financial blessings just all of a sudden they're going to like come. There's a promise in the Bible that says specifically about tithing that you pay your tithing and then the windows of heaven will be opened so that there's not going to be room enough to receive it. Like there's going to be so much blessings you won't even be able to contain them all. You'll have to start sharing the blessings with other people. That's how much you're going to be blessed. So I kind of felt like, oh, okay, like financially we're just going to start seeing a bunch of money coming in, and that wasn't the case. So we were just barely making enough to get by, to meet our grocery needs and other things. And so it was like rough, and that was for a couple months that it was kind of a rough situation. And it's been tight. It hasn't been as tight recently, but like finances have been tight. Money doesn't seem to go as far as it used to. Inflation's got the dollar, everything, the price on everything seems to be going up, including real estate and other things. So I just had the impression today that if you can find a house that's a good home, that's good for your family, like that'll be a blessing from God that has come because you're willing to make that sacrifice back then. There's a lot of people that don't really believe in a higher power, God or anything, so that might seem silly to some people, but I really feel like that it's true. God is good, and by that, what I think we mean is that God is the source of everything that's good in your life. And so anything that's good, it comes from God. And that's the way, I think that's a good way to live your life, because it just fills you with gratitude. Everybody likes grateful people. Ingratitude and ungrateful people, like, everybody recognizes that there's something off when people are just constantly ungrateful. I don't know. I didn't plan on talking about all of this, but as I'm looking for a home, and as we find a home, and maybe we'll have projects on fixing things up, things that are in our budget of what we're looking for, it might need a lot of repairs and stuff. And that's something that kind of nervous about, but there's an excitement that comes with that as well. So I guess I'll just try to include updates on that journey. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated, and we'll see. Like, this video might never see the light of day, but if it does, like, I guess things worked out and I found something that I felt like was a good property for our family, and at least good enough to be able to show off in a video or something. So thank you guys. I hope everybody can stay creative and stay productive and do good things. We'll see what happens next.